Before we begin, let me ask you something. When you take a breath, how does the air actually reach your lungs? Does it travel through a simple tube or there is a special pathway in your body? And here's another interesting question, that why do doctors say that if a peanut or coin accidentally enters the airway, it usually goes into the right lung instead of the left? So, hello everyone, welcome to Nursing with Priya. And in today's lecture, we will be discovering the airway of the respiratory system, the trachea and the bronchi. In this lecture, we will study about all these topics, and finally, we will understand that why this topic is clinically important in nursing. So, let's begin with the trachea. The structure that you can see here is the trachea, which is commonly known as the windpipe. The trachea is the main passage through which the air travels between the larynx and the lungs. Every breath that you take passes through this structure, and it connects the larynx, which is present above it, and the bronchi, which is present below it. And it is usually 10 to 12 centimeters in length. If this passage gets blocked, the breathing becomes very difficult immediately. And the trachea keeps the airway open so that the air can travel efficiently to the lungs. Now let's see that where trachea is located. It begins at the C6 vertebral level just below the larynx. From there it travels downward through the neck and enters the thorax. And in thorax it is at the T4 or T5 vertebral level. Here it divides into two main bronchi, and this division is known as the bifurcation. Now let's discuss about the structures which are present surrounding the trachea. Just behind the trachea we have the esophagus. This explains that why when you swallow food it passes behind the trachea and enters the esophagus instead of the airway. Now that we know that where trachea is located, let's understand the structure of trachea. First of all, the trachea is a fibrocartilaginous tube. In simple words, it is a flexible tube which is strengthened by the cartilages present in them so that the airway remains open all the time. Notice that its length is about 10 to 12 centimeter in adults, and it extends downward before dividing into right and left bronchi. One of the most important features of trachea is this C-shaped hyaline cartilage rings, and these rings are usually 16 to 20 rings present. Now you may wonder that why do we need these rings? Imagine drinking through a soft straw. If you squeeze the straw, it collapses and water cannot pass through it. Similarly, if the trachea had no support, it could collapse during breathing. This cartilageous ring act like a framework and keep the airway open. Now, look carefully at this cross section. Notice that the rings are of C shape. They do not complete the circles. The open part present at the posterior side where we find the trachealis muscles. Now, why is this important? Because the esophagus lies just behind the trachea. And when you swallow food, the esophagus needs to expand itself. And the flexible wall which is present behind the trachea allows this expansion without compressing the food bolus. The trachealis muscle can also slightly adjust the diameter of trachea during coughing and breathing. A simple way to remember this is to think of a reinforced flexible pipe. So the structure of trachea is designed perfectly to achieve two goals. The first one is to keep the airway open for breathing, and the second one is allowing the flexibility for swallowing. And that's what makes the trachea such an efficient airway passage. Now, let's zoom in even further and look at the wall of trachea. Think of trachea like a well-designed building. Instead of having just one layer, it has multiple layers, and each layer has its specific job. Let's start from inside and we move towards the outside. The innermost layer is the mucosa. It is lined by the pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. This epithelium tissue has the cilia and goblet cells present in them. The goblet cells produce the mucus. Why is this mucus important? Because every day we inhale dust, bacteria, smoke, and other particles. The mucus acts like a sticky glue and traps those unwanted substances. Whereas the cilia are the hair-like projections continuously beat upward and they push the mucus towards the throat. This often is called the body's self-cleaning mechanism. Now, just beneath the mucosa, we have the submucosa layer. This layer contains the connective tissues, blood vessels, nerves, and glands. The glands continue producing mucus to keep the airway moist and protected. You can think of this layer as the support and supply department of the trachea. Outside the submucosa layer, we have the cartilage layer. These are the C-shaped hyaline cartilage rings we discussed earlier. Their job is simple but critical. They prevent the air from collapsing. Without this, breathing would become very difficult. And the outermost layer is adventitia. This is a connective tissue layer that anchors the trachea to surrounding structures in the neck and chest. In other words, it helps the trachea in the correct position. So, if we summarize, the mucosa layer protects and cleans, submucosa layer supports and nourishes, whereas the cartilage layer keeps the airway open and adventitia holds everything in a place. Together, these layers ensure that every breath reaches the lungs safely and efficiently. The trick to remember this layer is MUSCA with the M mucosa layer, with the S submucosa layer, with the C cartilage layer, and with the A adventitia layer. Now, let's focus on a very important landmark called the carina. It is the point where trachea divides into right and left bronchi, and this division occurs approximately at T4 or T5 vertebral level. If we look from inside the airway, the carina appears as a ridge between the openings of the two bronchi. Now, why is this structure important? Because the carina is one of the most sensitive areas of the respiratory tract. If a dust particle or food particle or any other foreign object touches this area, it immediately triggers the cuff reflex. Think of it as a body's security alarm system. Its job is to detect any abnormal entering the airway and it quickly forces out through coughing before it reaches the lungs. That is why Carina acts as a first line of defense against the foreign particles, helping to prevent the aspiration and protect the lower respiratory tract. Now that the trachea has divided at the carina, let's follow the path of airway into right and left bronchi. Now let's compare the right and left main bronchi. The right main bronchus is wider, shorter, and more vertical because it is almost straight continuation of the trachea and it provides a more direct path into the right lung. Whereas on the other hand, the left main bronchus is narrower, longer, and more horizontal. This is mainly because the heart occupies more space on the left side of the chest, which makes the left bronchus more horizontal and longer. Now, here's the important clinical point. Since the right bronchus is more wider and more vertical, any accidentally inhaled object such as food or a peanut or a small toy is more likely to enter the right lung. Before we end this lecture, let's answer an important question. Why nurses should study the trachea and bronchi? First, nurses need to regularly assess the airway. Understanding the normal anatomy helps us quickly recognize any airway obstruction or breathing difficulties. Second, during suctioning procedures, knowledge of trachea prevents trauma and ensures safe removal of secretions. This is also essential during airway management, especially when assisting with intubation or caring for patients with tracheostomy tubes. Nurses continuously monitor respiratory rate, oxygen saturation, breath sounds, and signs of respiratory distress. Understanding the airway helps us interpret these findings correctly. Knowledge of bronchi also helps in early detection of complications such as aspiration, mucus plugs, infections, or airway obstructions. Ultimately, our goal is to ensure effective oxygen delivery to the body and maintain adequate ventilation. And finally, understanding the airway helps us to prevent infection through proper airway care and respiratory hygiene. So remember, knowledge of trachea and bronchi is not just anatomy. It directly helps nurses to provide safe, effective, and life saving patient care. Now, let's see how much you remember from today's lecture. Pause the video and try to answer the questions in the comment section before I reveal the correct options. The first question is, at which vertebral level does the trachea begin? The correct answer is C6 level. Second question, the trachea divides into right bronchi and left bronchi at which level? The correct answer is T4 or T5. The third question is, the highly sensitive ridge at the bifurcation of the trachea is called carina. Fourth question, which bronchus is wider, shorter, and more vertical? The answer is right bronchus. Fifth and the last question is, why do foreign bodies most commonly enter the right bronchus? The answer is that it is wider, shorter, and more vertical. Great job to everyone if you have got 4 or 5 correct. Your concepts are really strong. If you missed a few, quickly revise the carnia and right versus left bronchus difference once more. In the next lecture, we will continue deeper into the respiratory system by studying the bronchioles and alveoli, the actual site of gas exchange in the lungs. So that's all for today's lecture. See you in the next lecture.